Welcome to Muddy River News This Week. My name is David Adam. Muddy River News This Week is brought to you by Harvey's Furniture. This week, we're talking with Roy Webb, retiring superintendent with the Quincy Public Schools. And after 33 years of education, you're one day away. As we record this, you're done.
That's right.
Is it hard to believe that day is nigh?
Yeah, I mean, about a year ago, it seemed like a long way out, but it went fast. So it is kind of catching up with me in a hurry.
All right, so let's try to get people caught up on everything. First of all, your replacement has been hired. Todd Pettit officially starts on July 1st. You two have been working together for the last couple of months. Is that right?
Yeah, since he was named. He's really been kind of shadowing me a little bit, still doing his day job, which is a very busy job as the director of music in Quincy Public Schools, probably the most important job in the district outside of boys basketball coach.
Of course.
Yeah.
You've been here long enough to be able to know that, right?
Yeah, but a little above superintendent. But he's still been covering down on that and continuing to do that, but he's spent a lot of time with me as well too. So I think he's well prepared. He's ready.
For people who have grown accustomed to your style of superintending, I know that's not really a word, but I think people get the idea. What can they expect? How will Todd be different? How will Todd be similar to you?
Dr. Pettit is extremely organized. I think more organized than me, and I'm a pretty organized person. I respond pretty quickly, but he's very organized. He's very professional. He's a man of integrity. I think you'll see those things come through. He'll be a presence in the community. He knows the community extremely well, probably better than I did coming in, being a Blue Devil grad and the first ever Blue Devil grad to be superintendent. So he's well prepared. The differences you'll see, probably not so much of a smart aleck, and I would use another word, but I don't know what rating we get.
In a day or two from now, you can use that word and no one's
going to
care.
That's right. But he's, and I will tell you, he's also better prepared to be an instructional leader of the district. He's been an assistant principal, a principal. I had done those things as well too, but there was a big gap, and so he's been on the front lines. He's presented at IPA. He's presented at IESA. He's a very sharp educator, and he'll be a great resource for teachers and principals, probably more than what I was.
I'm going to guess he's probably a better singer too.
And a piano player. He's much more talented. Yes, absolutely.
Now, a lot of people may not remember this, but before you really got into the education field, you were in the Army for 3 years. How much does your military background influence the way you supervise and direct a school or school district?
A lot. It has. I mean, and 3 years active, but 36 years in the military total with several deployments and everything. And you don't live that without it being a part of your life and who you are. So for the good and for the bad, I've been called that I'm too much of a soldier, and Quincy Public Schools and my other districts are not the Army. I've been told that several times, but it's just who you are. Yep. So the decision-making process, I automatically kick into 3 courses of action, applied task, specified tasks, implied tasks, and coming up with what's the best course of action, and then moving out towards a mission. But and then I think it's just kind of ingrained to you that you have a mission, you go about it, you accomplish the task, and also the character and values that we try to live every day, loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. I mean, we live those.
Sounds like you've recited that a few times.
I have. So it's that's important who we are, and we try to live up to those.
During your career here in Quincy, you started in October of 2015, so it's been not quite 7 years in your role. Would it be too easy to say that the construction and the oversight of the schools that were built here, is that the biggest, the most important achievement during your time here?
I don't think so. I think it's the team I leave in place. I think we have some incredible young leaders. I've placed almost all of them now most of them were in the district when I got here, but they weren't in their spot that they're in now, or their duty assignment that they're in now. So I've placed them, and I'm just so proud, from our central office team to our principals to the leaders underneath our principals. What a quality group of leaders and men and women that are well prepared to lead this district for really a decade or more, because they can be here. A lot of them plan to stay in Quincy their entire careers, so we're in really good shape. I think that's, we talk about athletics sometimes in that coaching tree, and that's really what I'll take most pride in. Even Dr. Pettit, I'll take credit for him as well too, because we've spent 3 years together, and I've enjoyed learning from him, and I think he's enjoyed watching me and learning from both my successes and my failures.
Yeah. How important were the building of those schools? I thought your answer was interesting, because you were more proud of the people you worked with as opposed to the buildings that were built. But the fact is, those buildings, I'm guessing, show a commitment to education and a commitment to the city that hasn't been seen here in a long time.
That's what brought me to Quincy.
Yeah.
The passage of the $89 million referendum, it told me that Quincy supports education, and I have seen nothing to the contrary to that in the 7 years I've been here. It's been an extremely supportive community. And it brought me here, and then we were able to build those buildings. It was very much a team effort, local contractors, local subcontractors, architects and engineering firms, all three of them local, and then the board was engaged and had perfect oversight of the project. Dave Wombles, who has passed away since, but was a driving force, and then our maintenance team of Dane Barnes. We were able to condense the timeline. Originally it was going to be like build those over 10 or 12 years. That would have been just so chaotic. And I went to the board and I said, hey, we need to condense this into like a 3 or 4 year project. And we were able to do that. So we were well ahead of schedule, under budget. We're going to use some of that $89 million that's left to purchase the K&L Arena. And so yeah, I'm very proud of that. And I think it was critical for us. Madison, Berrien, Washington, a lot of those schools were from the 1800s and early 1900s, and they were not ADA compliant. They were not up to our health life safety code. We would have poured in $80-90 million into those buildings, and then who knows what we would have had afterwards. Right. So right now we have state-of-the-art, beautiful buildings designed for security, designed for technology, designed for ADA. If you know Sasha Betts, she's a little young girl who has, physical disabilities, and she's in a wheelchair. But she was at Lincoln Douglas, and it just brought a smile to her face. She could go everywhere on her own. She could use the restroom. She could go to the drinking fountains, and she was just tickled. It was a beautiful place for her. And when she talks about the new buildings, that's when people get fired up, hearing things like that.
One of the things I think that people, when they think about Roy Webb, was that for all the decisions that you made with buildings and curriculum and all of that stuff, you were very visible on social media.
Yeah, I apologize.
I was just wondering, that was obviously by design, but I know that also opened you up to people who didn't, they had no problem telling you, not necessarily to your face, but to your social media pages. They didn't like the way that you did things. Talk about the pros and cons of being so visible on social media.
Yeah, it's today's world, and you've got to be able to communicate on social media. So I went, and this is really the first district that I have. But I came from
people like you and I aren't supposed to know how to use those types of things.
Yeah, I came from smaller districts where if someone had a concern or issue, they just came up and said, "Hey, what's going on here?" But so yeah, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, kind of three different generations. You know, I couldn't even spell Instagram, but a lot of our students, you know, were on Instagram. Yeah. So I wanted to be on Instagram because I wanted to communicate with them too. You have to. It was a way for me to communicate with people and for people to communicate back. Originally, I tried to answer every post and every answer to my post, but it got overwhelming, and to cover all three and to try to answer everything. So I tried to remind people, I'm not going to answer your post. I'm not even really going to read much further down, and for my own mental well-being. It was fun to be able to communicate, and people reach out to me in other means. I told them email me, and they would do that, and so we could have conversations on disagreements.
And I think transparency was open. You were very open on those things, whether it was about this is why we're not having school today because of snow. I mean, that might have been the second biggest reason why people engaged with you on social media. Masks was number one, but that was at a different time. But people liked debating with you about about whether or not they should have school today, and you were very open about this is the reason why I made the decision I made.
And they were my decisions, a lot of them. So I could go out and just tell them, well, this is why I made the decision. And I tried to do that. I tried to be transparent with every decision that we made. So you're right. There's, some people can sharpshoot you, but most people were very supportive of that. And I get a chance to talk to young superintendents. And the one piece of advice I give them is to do that, is to be open and honest. And I've also gone on social media when I've made mistakes, and I've said, hey, I screwed this up, but here's how I'm going to try to fix it.
Right.
And, I can remember several times. And some of the most positive responses I've received from individuals was when I screwed something up in Quincy Public Schools. But I have no problem doing that. I make mistakes every day. I mean, they weren't getting a perfect superintendent, and I think I even told them that in the interview, that I'm not going to be the perfect superintendent. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to say things wrong, even though I'm an English teacher. Most people think I'm a PE teacher or special education teacher, but I'm actually an English teacher. But and that's, I don't want to offend my PE teachers or my special education teachers, but it's when I did those things, when I went out and said, hey, I screwed this up, here's how I'm going to fix it, that's when I got the most support from people. So Quincy, like I said, extremely supportive community for the most part.
What are you going to miss about the job?
What am I going to miss? A lot of things. I love going to the classrooms, visiting the kids. It's pretty awesome to walk into a first grade classroom and hear, hey, Mr. Webb, and then, you got a bunch of 6-year-olds run up and give you a hug. I'm sure the teachers won't miss that too much because it kind of throws
chaos. When you finally get all the cats herded and all of a sudden you show up.
Yeah, I show up. So, I love that. It's all about relationships. I've got some great friends in Quincy Public Schools that I work with on a daily basis. At the central office, the principals, a lot of the teachers and staff, and really community members. I got to, through emergency management and just my dealings with service clubs and everything else. A lot of friends that I deal with on a daily basis to get things done. It's the relationships that I build. It's the friends. I miss, you've always been a great friend as well too, and very supportive of the schools. And the media in Quincy is something you have to get used to. It's
I'm sure it does, because you were, Canton has some media, Canton,
But,
Illinois,
yeah.
and Chadwick, Milledgeville might have had a local
Yeah.
a local weekly.
Well,
I'm sure that's a big change for someone
absolutely. And the main radio and TV for Canton, they spend their time with Peoria School District, and then they Sterling Rock Falls or the Quad Cities from Chadwick, Milledgeville.
Mm-hmm.
Here, Quincy, there were sometimes, in a 2-week period, I would be called 10, 14 times by all the different media.
Right.
And it gets to be cumbersome, but it's a great resource to help communicate to people. But it is something
It's a
to
part
handle.
of the job that many people probably don't realize is as important as it is.
It is. And missteps on media, which I've had, they cost us time and energy in the entire district.
Yeah. Headed to Tennessee, right?
Yes.
So what's the plan now? I mean, the working ends, or well, I'm predicting that the work won't end. I have a feeling somehow, some way, you're going to work somewhere. But do you plan to work when you get to Tennessee, or are you going to finally be able to? Well, you don't have a lot. You're like me. We don't have a lot of hair to let down.
No.
But what are the plans when you get there?
In Tennessee, my wife and I have loved Tennessee, the mountains. So a lot of hiking, a lot of just enjoying. Our little cabin that we bought, it's within walking distance of some trailheads and a national park. I can actually just walk to those. So we're excited to do that travel. I know I'm going to come back to Quincy a lot because my granddaughter and my daughter are here and my future son-in-law. So I know we're going to come back quite often. And I don't think that's my last spot. It's just going to be a place that's quiet right now and kind of refocus. I don't think I'm going to live there my entire life. I may come back to Quincy. I love the Quincy community. I really do. I just think for Dr. Pettit and for myself, I need to disengage for a little bit, let people kind of forget who I am, and then I could see myself coming back at some point. But I have no specific work plans or anything. It's just kind of a quiet time for my wife and I and family, and just kind of enjoy that.
Speaking of Dr. Pettit, any advice? Here, you've got the opportunity here to record this now. Any advice for him as you walk out the door?
My advice for Dr. Pettit is really to be himself. He's a super guy. He's a great young man. He's extremely intelligent. He's got great educational instincts. He's got great people instincts. He's got great communication skills. He just needs to be himself, enjoy that and at that time, and don't get wrapped around in some small issues, and I don't think he will, but just always keep your eye on the big picture, which is taking care of kids, and I know he'll do that.
Roy Webb, thank you for your time. Thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for your service to Quincy.
Well, thank you, and just a thank you to Quincy as a whole. It's been a great community, extremely supportive, and I've told Blue Devils throughout when they graduate, if you need me, if you need something, reach out. The district's going to allow me to keep my cell phone number, and so which is great. Because everybody already knows it. So in the community.
I've got it.
Yes, everybody knows my number. So reach out, and I'm still happy to help any Blue Devil.
That's all the time we have for this week. I'm David Adam.